Welcome back to the Positively Negative podcast,
where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of positivity in a world that can be quite negative. I'm Dalio.
And I'm Tim Hummel, and we're glad you're here. Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday. We didn't do our podcasts this week.
No.
Until
oh my
today.
Gosh. You weren't supposed to hear that. I was trying to figure out the number.
By firing up a game.
No, well, the game was the last thing I had loaded, and so when it just comes off of lock screen. It's episode something. I'm sorry, I don't have the number. 40.
It's going to be up there. I think it's going to be 43, 40... It's not 50, is it? It's not like we've not hit that one.
What are we going to do for 50? Can we
Same
have a
as we
pizza
did
party?
for 40... Excuse to have pizza, I like it a lot.
Remember when you were
Can we
a
do
kid?
that for 51 as well?
Yeah, remember when we were a kid and everything was like, can we have a pizza party?
Yeah, when it's like something.
It's Johnny's
Anything.
birthday.
Could
It's
be anything.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
That car's red.
Can we have a pizza party? I was always trying to scam for pizza parties.
Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday anyway. That's it. Good podcast. Thanks for everybody joining in and taking part. It's been a really good podcast.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Now I just have to know what it is now.
We had a real difficulty in coming up with topics. I think it's kind of like a curse that you have when you do a podcast where you feel like you have to have a topic and you have to have something that you want to talk about and you have to be interesting and you have to come up with something, and sometimes you're just not in that headspace to do it.
Yeah, and to be honest, whenever we do take the time to come up with a podcast, it usually ends up being something totally different anyway, but just to have that starting point, I think, as an anchor is like a good psychological trick.
Yeah.
To get started.
I can give you one positive this week is that, and it's probably better for product sense, but I'll throw it out there because I think it's got a value to it in terms of people looking in from the outside at maybe crypto and blockchain and being like, oh no, that's just scammers and Bitcoin and crooks and whatever. Yes, I think there's a lot of that happens on there on because it's moving money around, and it's kind of the governance model is not necessarily through banks and institutions, but some people could argue that they're just as bad. What I will say is I've spent roughly a year on supporting a decentralized app, and it's actually paid off. It's actually paying off as of tomorrow. It's kind of come to fruition, and I'm really proud to say that I feel like it feels good to have backed the right horse. Like with all the ICOs and all the things where people lost money, I feel like I kind of dodged a bullet when it comes to like investing in something that didn't come to fruition.
Well, and it's a totally different relationship with an investment from I remember last year when everything was up, I was like, okay, let me take some of this extra crypto and diversify.
Yeah.
And it all felt very abstracted to me, mostly because I'm not a nerd in the sense of
numbers.
Knowing this guy was also the CEO of this, and now he's over here doing this, and he's in with this project, and that's why I'm going to back it. I didn't know things to that level. But it's a totally different experience when you're backing a project or a crypto that you're literally on the front lines of, grinding every day. You're on the website multiple times a day. You participate as a hunter and a mod. That's a totally different relationship to the coin than.
But you were like me.
This one might be a good pick.
But you were the same as me in that you were in there at ground floor level, right?
Yeah.
So it was a service that I went, hey, you should check this out. It's this website for hunting stuff. And then it was it's really cool. And then obviously we were attracted to it because it was the boom time. And Ned had Mr. Delegation had delegated some money to it. And in the first days, I'm going to be absolutely honest, it was a money play. I mean, it was, honest to God, it was a real money play. It was oh, shit.
To be a mod?
No, not even got into modding yet. To start off with, it was I can put something on here, and if it gets in the top 10, I'm quids in. It was awesome. I didn't pull that money out necessarily. I upgraded it. I still had power downs every week, and I always have had that. But my point I'm getting at is that was my attraction start off. It was adapt to do that. And then gradually, as we went through all the arguments and the pricing, and everybody's this is crap, what's a good product, do we need to have guidelines? I think being part of that team from the ground level up has made it easier for me to make decisions on understanding what it is to spread value, hold value, spread value in different communities in crypto. Because normally you're either a Facebooker or you're a YouTuber, and you can't really say that about crypto. You can say you're into, you're a BTC or you're hodl Litecoin, or like, you're a Tronixer or whatever the fucking old Trons are called. But like, I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm just a universal like crypto person now. I feel like I understand so much more than I did a year ago.
And it ticked a bunch of different boxes for me, because even before they had the Hunt token, it was a dApp on the Steem blockchain. Right. So it was like, for me, when they put out the call for mods, they also put out the call for delegators. And my first instinct was like, I would love to delegate to this project, but I didn't have the money to do it.
Right.
And so for me, I was like, okay, well, if I can't support them with money, I'm going to support them with my time. And then that just became, okay, that means now you're a moderator. Like, it literally was like, follow this link to our Discord and let us know you want to be a moderator. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And I was like, okay, what is it going to be? A couple hours a week tops. And that position grew, like you said, the arguments and the being asked for feedback was really was something I always appreciated about the team. Like, hey mods, what do you think about this? We should change this rule. It was a lot of like feeling it out. It was a lot of like course correction and throwing something out there and being like, okay, let's adjust. I think knowing from that level, like and seeing how those progressions got made me more and more want to go all in on like Hunt tokens and keeping them where they're at.
I've been impressed with how adaptive the team has been, the main team, Teberus and Project 7, in terms of reading the market. Like every time there was something new that came up, it was like, oh, this is a good approach. Oh, this is a good approach. And then the IEE stuff, like, I honestly at one point didn't think the IEO stuff would work, because when they were like, oh, we partnered with a tokenomics company, I was like, we're partnering with somebody for the first time now. This is worrying to me, because every time I've ever seen anything with ICOs and all these other things, it's been like, it's probably going to go tits up. So it was always a gamble. But and the reason why I'm talking about this today is that I want to give people a heads up as what I think a good project looks like and what a good IEO looks like is consistency of messaging, regular pushing of updates, talking back to your community, reading the room, and the room being cryptocurrency in general, and finding out where you fit into that. Because at any time, and this has to be said, and nobody might remember this, but Mr. Delegation, Ned, when he laid off 70% of the team, actually pulled back 3 major investments in other dApps. And it could have been Steem Hunt.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Quite easily could have been Steem Hunt. Whereas Steem Hunt, I think now, is probably one of the top 3 dApps on the chain.
Yeah, and it's not a game, which is, I feel like, not that it's easy to be a top when you're a game, but like you have a lower, anybody is going to try out a game. Do you know what I mean? It has a little bit more flash, it has a little bit more,
I don't know, some people treat it as a game.
Yeah, that's why there's mods.
Yeah,
that's why we needed to be mods, I think. Some
people treat it as a game. I mean, like, I get it. It's kind of like the acquisition of like tokens and stacking those tokens, but
I think a lot of people in crypto have that mindset. It attracts those type of people, and not even saying it from like a scammy gaming perspective, but there are certain people who see everything, see their balancing the checkbook as a game, a puzzle, like something to crack, something to find, like a vulnerability or a way to win. So
you know what I'd like to see?
You have a high concentration of those people in the crypto world.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see 5 dApps that work solely on hardware encryption, on-chip encryption, and like hardware Trezors or hardware in phones that's security. Because at the minute, I know people, the size of crypto compared to like other marketplaces, like we haven't even got like mainstream adoption yet. And yet we're still treating it like, oh, we'll just take as much as we can, which I think is the wrong thing. If we really want this to be the de facto, if we really want to live a life where we can spend a couple of hours over here on this chain and a couple of hours over here on that chain, if we're just exploiting it or finding mathematical ways around it, it'll never flourish. It'll never be what it could be.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad to me. But what I will say, it's been interesting to watch how to run a startup in 2019. Being able to, I know that Project 7's been involved with crypto stuff or blockchain stuff for 5 years, or in this space for about 5 years, and he just published an amazing Medium article actually about stuff he's learned. One thing I will say is I think that's the way to build a startup now in 2019, is like, you have intention, you build a community of people. Do they like the idea? Do they turn up every day? And then the way they've raised money for this project, still haven't got enough money to pay, like, onboard another 5 developers, which really they could do with. Poor Tabras, his brain must be mush after a year, let alone Project 7 with his... You know what I've always respected about him, and I know I'm blowing smoke up his ass, but, like, design-wise, writing-wise, like, timescale-wise, putting something out every 2 weeks, that's hard work.
Yeah. To
talk back to the community, to be in everybody's DMs, to write that stuff out, to turn up, and then push the roadmap forward as well. That's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, for two people, essentially.
So I really respect the fact that the way they've raised money fits with what I see in my head as an equation of staying the course.
Yeah.
Right? That's the modern day working at the coalface for me.
Isn't it funny that, like, we're surprised when a startup does what they say they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally all you have to do to impress me nowadays.
You're right.
As a startup.
You're right.
All you have to do is say, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and then do 1, 2, 3. I'm, like, blown away.
You're right. For the last 11 minutes, what I've really been talking about is my surprise at something actually working.
Positively negative.
No,
it's true.
You're right.
It's true. I totally agree. And we usually reserve, like, this type of talk for our other podcast, which is called Product Sense. So if you are interested in hearing, like, more about what goes on Ziploc Chines and with Steam Hunt, then you should check that out, because we've got like 30 something episodes over there already.
Yeah.
This is episode 48, by the way.
Oh, is it?
So 2 more episodes till
nice.
Pizza Party.
Jesus. Is there a consensus agreement, smart contract for this, or is it just
Pizza Party. Well, what kind of party do you want to have? A cookie party?
I don't want to just come up with it right now.
Oh, it needs more. It needs more planning.
I need to delegate some power to it before I can sit here and just come up with a random. We won't end up with pizza on the 50th one unless you folks.
Probably not, but like.
What about kebab?
Oh my God! It's always a kebab party.
Fish party.
Fish sounds so sad.
Let's have a fish party.
Just doesn't have. You know why though? I'm realizing that's a very location specific thing. Like, because of where I grew up. It's like you order a pie for like an occasion. That's the easiest way to feed a bunch of people if you don't want to cook, is order a pie. So like every like you're moving and people helping you, all right, order a pie around 3 p.m. when everybody's hungry, or like you have
order a pie.
A pizza pie.
Okay.
Pizza pie is like $16 with like, I don't know, 10 or 12 slices. You order 2-3 pies. You can just like, fire up like kids' birthday parties, anything that was like, it was just order a pizza pie.
Got it.
So that's why, like, for me in my mind, any
this pizza's
party.
getting loads of airtime.
Pizza party.
Yeah, you're just kind of just trying to force your pizza ways.
We're not going to have pizza, let's be honest.
We certainly haven't got consensus on this pizza right now.
Well,
anyway, going back to Product Sense quickly. Product Sense. We will be talking more about the exchange, Daybit, MetaMask, transferring, all of that stuff on that one. We might do that later on today.
Sure. Let's just do it right after this.
No, well, consensus is I haven't made a decision. Don't force me into pizza and podcast and this and do this.
All I'm doing is just throwing out.
Yeah, you're throwing out
options.
stuff that I have to make a decision on right now.
No, it's like you're out in the sea and I throw
I'm out in the sea?
Yeah, and I throw out a life ring that says
I can't swim.
Pizza party on it, and then you can grab it or not.
For the love of Pete.
I don't give a damn about pizza. Just
I can imagine you having
pizza party.
Yeah, I can imagine you having like styled pizza rings for a boat. Actually,
yeah, life preserver.
Kind of like that idea. Actually, I think it looked quite cool if you had like skins. You remember when people had those toilets, like glittery toilet?
Oh my God, those acrylic toilets.
Yeah.
Toilet
What's that
seats.
About? Like,
wait, do you remember the one that was like? Wait a second. Why was everybody in the 80s and 90s obsessed with walking into your bathroom and then it just being the ocean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
curtains a lot.
The toilet seat that had the embedded seashells and sand in it and glitter. It was like a clear acrylic.
Yeah.
And it would have like sand and glittery seashells in it.
Maybe they're just trying to go for that whole like serene. You're on the beach. This is where you normally take a dump on the beach. I don't know.
I mean, I guess if you have a bathtub, right, and that is like your happy place, but it was always so So literal. And it was just like, there was a renaissance of creative toilet seats back in those days. Or do you remember the sticky padded vinyl ones?
There's lots of rubbish. There's lots of rubbish.
Worst.
I have bad memories of that stuff, going into DIY shops and being like rows of toilet seats and rows of so one thing that triggers me so much about IKEA is that, like, I have in my mind I want a cupboard or I want a light, and I go in there and there's 40 lights and it's like, fucking hell, how am I supposed to decide? Like, I had an idea in my mind of what I wanted, now I have to completely re-engineer like my approach to how I'm going to light the room.
There's two ways to
just
do
order.
IKEA.
Yeah, eat the meatballs and leave.
Well, that's one.
That's it.
So there's three. There's eat the meatballs and leave. There's go in with a measuring tape and you tell yourself you're not going to buy anything. Just go in with a measuring tape, see stuff in person, open drawers, sit on couches, whatever, come back and then decide. And then you go back and you already have the number. Like, I would look up the number online and I'd be like, I'm here for the Jorgen Splorgen, and I'd go straight to the self-serve warehouse area, because don't take me through that spaghetti loop.
Yeah.
No, there's no windows in an IKEA, no concept of time, and no direct way out.
But there's plenty of people staying overnight there.
I always had that thought too, even before like that guy did it, that comedian.
Yeah.
I always was like, I could live in here and no one would ever find me.
Yeah.
And I'd just set up shop.
Yeah. Otherwise this week, I think it's just been kind of like just a fast week.
Yeah, I think
went really fast. We did some tidying at the beginning of the week, which really set the momentum, like clarity of momentum going.
Yeah. That was this week? See, I'm out of phase this
Monday
week.
Tuesday we did that, yeah. Monday and Tuesday we did that. We had a real big tidy and everything was like super light. It made a difference. It made a momentum difference, like clearing house in my head and stuff. And I cleared all this down, moved this around and rejigged stuff. But April is a weird one for me. Like, ideally, I would have liked to have got more done this week. I feel like I've got an overhang, but I also feel like at some point that's going to release and I'm just going to like...
Yeah, I can't ever force that to happen, but I feel exhausted. Like, but when I go back and actually take inventory of what I got done digitally, I don't feel like it's that much. And so I'm like, why do I feel so burnt out, so exhausted? Like, I don't feel like I want to be on my machine. I don't want to be sitting at a desk. Every time I've had a little bit of energy, like it's been going toward like little minor clear outs, little pockets of corners of organizing things.
Yeah.
But I also do know, and I always forget this, that when I'm on it, I can get like a month's worth of work done in a solid week.
Exactly.
So I just have to ride it out, I guess. Like, I guess I don't work like a robot.
I think the weather's had a lot of, weather's had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, all of a sudden it got so cold, and I was like,
yeah, it's like -2
life in shorts every day.
It's like warm, and then it's like -2. But we've got a whole lot of heat coming this week. I really want to switch it up to like earlies this week. That sounds like pre-war. It sounds like a bomber.
Pre-breakfast to me. That's how I sound, pre-breakfast.
Yeah, so we haven't got a hell of a lot of topics this week to talk about, unfortunately.
Except for toilet seats, decorative toilet seats.
Yeah,
I think we should title this episode "Decorative Toilet Seats."
Well, okay, we can do that.
Well, do you not have consensus about that?
Wow. Was kind of just hanging in there, was it? The annoyance of not being able to get a resolution on it, huh? Maybe you need to go and talk to some of the witnesses downstream and see if you can convince them to push me into consensus.
Shade. So much shade. I'm so glad I'm not part of that world, if I'm
me
honest.
neither.
If I'm honest. As much as I would love to do the thing of the actual strict definition of a witness and support the blockchain in that way, I know all the strings that come with it, and I'm not trying to live that life.
Yeah, I have no idea to go to the worst party in the universe. Like, it wouldn't be a good party. 20 top witnesses in a room on a live stream. I can't imagine that being a good party.
I don't know. I mean...
well, could they come to an agreement about what ice cream or what pizza to order?
Well, if there's unlimited double bock beer.
The fucking double bock will haunt me till the end of my days. I don't know where they're producing that in Portugal, but they're cranking that shit out. Yeah. Let me tell you, double bock.
That was from Steamfest 2 when every venue had an open bar, but the only thing they had to drink was a double bock. Double bock dark.
That's kind of a negative for me. I don't think I realised the other day, I came to a realisation the other day that I will probably never go to a Steam Fest again.
You never say never.
No, I don't think I will. Okay. Oh, it's unfortunate. I'd love to. I really love Steam Fest, but I just don't think I would ever go to another one now. I feel like.
Do you think if you had gone to the one, this most recent 3 in where was it? Was it in Prague? It was in
Poland.
Yeah.
Krakow.
In Krakow. Do you think that you would feel differently?
No.
Or is that maybe was thinking that it was just because you lost the momentum of not going 1 year?
No, I don't think it's
behind on it.
No, it's none of those things. I just feel like I don't think I could ever have such a good event as Portugal.
Well, you just can't. You can't compare it to Portugal.
It's not about comparing it. It was just like it was the perfect time. Everything was perfect about it. It was our first holiday.
Yeah.
It was
warm.
It was warm.
So it was November, and we were like going someplace warm.
Quality time with ourselves, and we had lots of time with the venues.
Yeah.
We met some people. We had plenty of beer.
So much.
We had like loads of food.
Alcohol.
I don't want to ruin it by going on like say Steam Fest was in, I don't know, the Middle East or Far East or
Middle Earth.
Middle Earth. If it was in Middle Earth, then I would probably go. If it was Middle Earth and I could hang out with Gandalf, I would go.
Steam Fest Mordor.
I would totally go to Mordor. Whose ring would we be throwing in the Mount Doom?
I can't say without it being so shady.
No, I just feel like sometimes in life you have to just be like, that was a great moment, and I want that one to be the moment. That
so
of
you
all
don't
the events.
you don't ask like hit me at 18 in blackjack. You just let it ride.
No.
Always ask at 18.
No.
It's not that I'm trying to like replicate it or like better it, but like I don't know. I'd be open to it again.
No, but if I go out at 18, I guarantee you I'm getting 2 more slices of the pizza in the kitchen. Well, because you're all too engrossed in earning more stuff. Like I'm happy to take that memory, all the parts, not just the event. Mm-hmm. Like the ability that we did video. We went out on the last day. We walked with a big flag. Like everything was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to try and. It's a bit like when Ella came. Like I never wanted to have any more children after that. Maybe I'm just very isolationist. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like some kind of. Memories are important, right? That's why we're here. Like we make memories. We think of memories. We think of life. I don't know. When you have a perfect moment. Like, it's very difficult to move past it. You worry as to why you can't move past it. The children thing has changed. I'll be honest about the children thing.
So, okay. But if it wasn't called Steam Fest and it was some other conference or some other thing, you would go. But it's because you would always be comparing it to the last Steam Fest.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, man. I would go if it was someplace warm. And I know that sounds so petty, but if it was someplace warm and someplace that, like, when someone mentions a place and you're like, yeah, that clicks for me. Portugal was like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, places in Spain would be like that for me. Actually, Canada, like Toronto.
Let me tell you.
You would do Steam Fest Toronto.
That's tough.
See, if it was someplace that, like, I've had in my little roster in my brain.
That's tough.
Then I'd be like, even though I know Toronto takes back the whole cold thing. But
I don't mind being bundled for stuff.
I do. I mean, I don't mind being bundled for a time, but like what we're experiencing now is it's been winter since October and it's April now. It's cold again, and I'm tired of jackets. I want to wear shorts. I don't want to wear shoes. I want to sit in the sun. I want to do yoga.
Well, maybe our parents should have done better choices in.
Why weren't we brought up in Peru? I just want to eat mangoes.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm
every
feeling...
day, people. Every day.
Every day what? I want to eat mangoes every day?
Every day.
It doesn't bum you out? Maybe you're more used to the weather here.
I'm used to it, yeah.
Oh, man, the weather bums
I'm not saying
me
it.
out.
Yeah, but like, it bums me out too, but it doesn't affect my mood like that.
Really? But you're a ground sign. I would think that it would.
I worry about the floor. I don't worry about what's up there.
But like that's the earth.
I worry about earth, not sky or clouds. That's where you live.
It's so cold. It doesn't you know how much nicer and easier life is when it's
no
warm.
doubt. But like that's life. Like you see, the problem is I would be bored of going. I couldn't live in a place that was hot and sunny all the time.
Like like LA. Like
I couldn't do it.
LA weather. I know.
couldn't do it.
That just seems very too homogenous.
Well, more than anything, I think if you've been brought up in a place which is damp all the time, like it's weird not to be wet at some point in your life in that year. So going to a place where...
You think you would miss rain?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I would. I'm telling you, I would.
That's some weird kind of Stockholm syndrome.
No,
then.
because like the problem is that whenever as I've grew up and we've gone on a holiday, see, we escaped in the 80s to Spain on a plane because it was like, go to Spain, it's really hot, it's never hot in the UK, get away, try it, experiment. I did that every year. I had 2 holidays a year from 8, 9 till like 16, 17. My parents' family took me away every year twice, like bang, 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 heat. But I by 2 o'clock in the afternoon I was in bed or asleep or having a nap or having the siesta, like, because and so I don't think I can be productive in a place like that. I'd be if I lived in a place that was warm all the time, I'd be in bed at 2 o'clock and I'd be drunk every morning. Because
I'm just kidding.
all right, that's great.
Are you trying to sell it to me or what?
No, that's great. But the problem is, okay, it's in my psyche, I guess. I think you're right. I think going back to your pizza thing about locational thing, it's very difficult to shake that. Like I assume that that's just my lot in life, is that at some point I'm going to be damp.
Oh my God, that's so depressing.
I know. You're right. You're totally
Holy
right.
Heck.
But
I mean, okay, here's the thing. I appreciate a rainy day as well. Like if I don't have to do errands and I don't have to leave the house, and I can be cozy and
all right, here's
sweats.
another thing. My body's not suited to rain either. Like I have hay fever and asthma just triggered by heat and fucking.
That's why I said
dust.
it was the Stockholm syndrome because you.
I don't live in Stockholm. I live in England. Why do we have to say it's something to do with Sweden?
Oh my God! Every day, people, every day.
Oh, I see. Copying.
Bring it back.
Original. I'm the original.
Okay, be the original.
Thanks.
The original recipe fried chicken.
Oh, better than
but
pizza.
You cannot make that argument. Fried chicken over pizza? Is that for real?
Depends where you get the chicken from.
Depends where you get the pizza from. The best fried chicken and the best
well,
pizza.
you know, wouldn't you? Fried chicken, pizza, love parties over here. Like, is there something happening? Is somebody using a paintbrush? Better order a pie. Fucking hell.
We always fed
All right,
people who helped us.
Hang on, let's get back to the weather thing. I think it's important.
Okay, fine.
Listen, okay, here's the thing.
I just don't want 9 months of winter. I don't mind even having 4 seasons.
Liza, this is not the Game of Thrones. This is just England. That's what England is.
Game of moans.
It is the Game of Moans. We have white walls in Calais and then in Dover. As soon as you pass those, it's grim and dark. And as you go into the north, it goes different shades of black, grey. Wow. And then we're just like, jeez. This is no Middle Earth, Biza.
What's it like in the south?
Nicer.
We were watching that show on Netflix with Ricky Gervais, and I was like, "This isn't England. There's sun in all these shots."
I got on a train in Nottingham where it was miserable, and got on a train to London, and an hour and a half later got there and was fucking boiling.
That's what's so weird about this country is the weather systems are like so localized.
That's right.
Like you literally can drive an hour and it's a totally different. Feels like a totally different country.
It's weird. You're right.
So maybe I just need to live down by the sea. This is what frustrates me about it. It's gorgeous out here. It is stunning. And so it's like such a tease for it to be so beautiful and then it just be raining and gray all the time.
Well, I think it's not just the country though, it's the weather systems, right? Where we're placed in the world, we get like the Atlantic, what do you call it? I don't even know the name of that fucking
It is a
wind
rock
thing.
Just in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah,
it's
and we've got
rock.
like massive like systems around us that are like clashing into each other. Like they literally like hit and divide and go up, and depending on where they hit and divide, that depends what you're going to get through the country. You know, it's not like
Brexit.
Well, let's not get onto that either. I mean...
No, I mean, I guess it's easy to be picky about weather, and I think people always want what they don't have with weather, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I could live someplace that was 100% hot and humid and boiling all the time either. You're right. Like, that is an energy zap. But, like, it was just such a tease to have, like, a week of nice weather.
If I was totally set, here's the thing: if I was totally set and I didn't have to necessarily work so much, I just had to do like 2 or 3 hours of admin stuff from a laptop, I would go and live somewhere where it's really hot all the time. Yeah. It's the work thing for me that worries me.
Yeah.
How do I fit things in and enjoy it?
Here's the thing, and you may disagree with this from an ecological standpoint, but in the UK, because you don't have really hot weather, you're not used to air conditioning.
Not at all.
It's not like a thing in stores, but in places like Florida and I'm sure in places in Spain and places in Portugal where they have that, and it's like, if they didn't, everything would stop. It's just air conditioning, and that's fine.
Yeah, but I have a problem with that, though. That kind of... Maybe because we've been so focused on those things in terms of... Maybe because in Britain we're all miserable as fuck. And it's like...
You love it. You like to lean into it.
We lean into it, but then when I go somewhere like Florida and there's power being used everywhere for air conditioning, it's like, it doesn't matter how hot it is outside because we've got the air conditioner 7000 XL. It's like, yeah, but it uses fucking power, mate. And it's got fucking chemicals in it that you need to cool. So, like, I feel like those luxuries at keeping you cool, just move to fucking England. You don't need it. No. You don't need an air conditioner.
Where is there nice weather? I can't think of any places
Mars,
anymore.
Pluto.
Okay, here's my question. This is going to be the ultimate question. Let's say Elon took us all to Mars, and we all got our own biodome that we could perfectly set exactly the way that we wanted it at all times. What would it be? Give me a high temperature and a low temperature, and how much rain?
It wouldn't be. I wouldn't have it. Fucking hell! This is what a human Nest OS is. This like what I would have is I would have like they have in Vegas, that indoor like Viennese, like you get on the boat and you go around a little water thing. I would have like that. I would have that. I would have a little boat and I can go through like.
You want canals?
I want canals because you get the cold, cool air, and then you've got like you can go into different biome. I want to be able to boat round to all my little biomes.
So you'd have like maybe they'd be like seasonal.
Absolutely.
I love snow. Like, listen, I'm saying
now we're starting to get in some consensus.
I love snow.
So
like Bulgaria,
I'd have a penguin section with snow in it. I'd have a.
You're complaining about people who use air conditioning in Florida, and you want penguins.
Wait.
And a canal.
A minute ago, you said Elon is taking us to Mars.
Oh, so if Elon does it, it's all sorted.
No, I'm not saying if Elon does it. I'm saying if we're really extrapolating the truth. Then this is what I want. If Elon is making us work to get to Mars.
I would love it. I would love some penguins, but I would also love some goats and some chickens. I don't think that you can have them in the same biomes. So yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm on about. 4 different regions, and the boat get interconnection, a bit like Willy Wonka. Like you go through one,
like, no and
you could have a laptop in the boat, and you could have the boat like on a timed thing. So you did like 6 hours, and then bang, you're into the next one. You have to have a coat ready and everything. It was the best.
It would be like a sundial.
It'd be the best, and you can have a little tent and a hut, and you could just get off the boat and you can go into the hut, and that's your just winter zone, and then you can go into the next. Be fucking brilliant. That's what I want. That's what I want.
So you would want, but which one do you think you'd spend the most time in?
The winter one.
You really do?
Yeah.
If we could have a
because
fireplace.
You wouldn't want to be in there.
Wow. You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. The one where I can get away from Dale.
Who are you talking to? The ones who's the ladies and gentlemen? You mean me and you?
No, the ladies and gentlemen.
There's nobody listening to this, Pfizer. Everybody's tuned out. It's 33 minutes in. There's no way they're listening.
Everybody who's listening now knows that you want to get away from me, and that's fine.
Have you brought it up twice now?
Well, I'm just proving. I think there are people.
What are you proving?
That they're. Hello, are you there? Is anybody there?
Well, supposedly there's an audience of 10, but I'm not quite sure what those 10 are.
Well, that makes 12 of us who know that you want to be away from me now. That's the third time.
It's lunchtime. Can we go and get some booze?
Yeah, but we have another podcast.
I'm not doing it straight after this. I'm going to get back with our bottles and start drinking and then get into it.
Oh, great. That's
what do you mean, oh, great?
Well, just in case things get said, feelings get hurt.
Then don't post it. Simple as that.
I don't think we have one podcast that we haven't posted, even the sloppy ones.
It's because we're not precious about it. Look, I don't make... years ago, when I used to do the whole, like, inverted commas social media, I said I want to be sociable with my media. Yes. And what I mean by that is I don't want to necessarily build a community. I don't want to necessarily, like... be kumbaya. I don't want to be like, do this or your way is wrong. I just wanted to be like, I am here, I exist. This is like writing a fucking letter and sticking it in a bottle and throwing it in the ocean. Totally unsustainable, by the way, doing that shit. Like glass bottles,
at least it's
things.
Glass.
Yeah, but it's still.
You don't like a hermit crab live in it eventually or something?
How? Does he take the cork out, read the letter, and be like, "Oh, I can totally use this bottle better than you"?
At least glass doesn't like leach into the ocean, and maybe some coral could
Oh,
build
come
up on
on!
it or
There could
something.
still be a bottle inside some basking whale's like stomach. Just, I've just eaten.
Blah. That's what whales are going around doing all day. Well,
I like.
Okay, fine. Have you ever found? I've always wanted to find a message in a bottle. When I was a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, I hope I find one." Every time I went to the
Mine
beach.
would be. I would get so excited, and then the letter inside would be just.
It'd be like
horrific.
an advertisement for an ISP service. It'd be an ad.
Yeah, pizza now being sold.
Pizza party.
No.
Oh, wait, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
What's the British version of that?
What?
Like, what's like the go-to way to like feed a bunch of people like at an event or like
Sandwiches.
Okay.
Little sandwiches.
And
little cut sandwiches. But the thing is, they wouldn't order them. We don't have a culture of like takeaways and ordering in. That's why it's such a big thing now that you've got like Deliveroo and all these like startup businesses. We never had anything like that before.
So just be mom in the back slaving away.
Yeah.
Damn.
Slaving away, mad at the whole family. You know.
Yeah.
That's how a lot
Well, the difference is by me, mom was working. So that's why there's a culture of that stuff. It's not because like we like food more than anybody else. I think to keep up with the cost of living, you had to have a 2-family income. There wasn't an option of mom staying at home, and so mom's gonna order slices.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, okay, sandwiches, fine.
Yeah, sandwiches was always a big thing in. It was always go around to my grandmas who would put what they could. I don't know if you've ever called it like this, but in England, I don't know if it's a common thing, but definitely in the north, it's called putting a spread on.
Yeah, well,
is that what it's called? Where you call it?
We would call it a spread. Like if you go out and like there's like a lunch or something, or like you have to go to a meeting and they're gonna have lunch. It's like, oh, did you see the spread they had?
Exactly.
Oh my god!
Like the spread is. And then why is that? That when you go to a party, you evaluate the party based on how good the spread was.
Oh, did you get those bacon wrapped shrimps? Oh my god!
I saw a picture the other day on Twitter that made me laugh because somebody had gone to a party and that it was just pineapple and then plastic cheese slices.
Oh no, like orange cheese, like government cheese. Yeah. Oh no.
It's just like, this is the worst. Somebody had put that as the worst party I've ever been to in my life.
That's the worst.
Yeah, but the spread, and that's what it used to be. I remember at Christmas time, my granddad and my grandma would put baked potatoes in the oven and then just like leave it on, and then we'd go across to the pub. They had a whole system. You know, my granddad would get absolutely blottoed, so he was completely incapacitated to do anything with baked potatoes. All part of his plan.
Yeah.
You know, he'd get back. He'd be the main focal point in the room. Like, you know,
Is
wow.
This Irish granddad or British granddad?
British granddad.
Okay.
The one who did Rolls Royce and stuff. You know, everybody would, because it's funny how the older you get, you become the focal point of, do you need anything, granddad? And my granddad was always drunk, smoking out the top window of the thing, and you know, get his baked potato first for everybody else, and then everybody else had to like scrabble to get stuff, and then there'll be this unloading of like trifle, and at one point I thought my grandma was like dating on the side a Russian trailerman because the amount of tuna she had in her cupboard was staggering. I was like, where is she getting all this? Because she used to take me into town to do shopping and getting the cheap baked beans and all that.
You said there was that big scare of tuna.
Well, they had rationing. Yeah, they went through the whole rationing thing. Yeah.
No, but of the chemicals. So maybe because it was so cheap, they couldn't get rid of the tuna anymore.
No, I do know one thing is that my grandma was the entrepreneur in the family because she ended up setting up a business and like selling. She had a wool shop and she sold wool opposite from where they lived.
Oh, wool. I thought you said a wall. How are you selling walls? How tall are they?
Okay.
Sorry,
English language.
British language.
GB. dash US.
God save the Queen.
And she had the most successful like entrepreneurial business, and she ended up paying for the mortgage on the house.
Wow.
So my grandma was she got everybody schooled in the family. She was really good at that.
That's
Don't know
cool.
why I went down that route.
Well, baked potatoes though.
Yeah,
And
so
yet there's something about parties that's like we take it real seriously because it's Italian, but like there's something about hospitality. If somebody doesn't put effort into the food that is there when you get there, then it's like, do you even care that I'm here?
It's funny because
I don't know where that comes from, but it is like a big part of welcoming somebody into your space is like having provisions for them.
Yeah.
So when they get there, because maybe they've traveled or, you know, maybe it was hard on them to get there, and or you're the one who initiated the gathering, and so
you have to have something.
you're the one who has to it's like the binding agent of all the humans to keep them in one place.
Whereas now it's like you get invited to a place and you feel obliged to have to actually take something with you.
Yeah, I always liked the parties that like everyone was involved in making the thing. Like we had a couple parties with like raclette machines, which was like,
what the hell are those?
Oh, they're great. I gotta show them to you. It's like a grill up top, like almost like a panini grill where you grill like meats and veg.
Yeah.
And then but it's one unit, and then on the bottom are like these little non-stick square trays.
Yeah.
And you put
The bacon
and you put cheese in there.
Yeah.
And then you pour the cheese on the it's like a inverted tofu.
Yeah.
Not tofu. What's the word I'm thinking of?
I don't have a clue.
Fondue. It's like an inverted fondue. Instead of taking the food and dipping it in the cheese, it's like you grill the food up top, and then you have melted cheese on the bottom, and then you pour it on top. But it's like a big communal thing, so everybody's got their own. It's almost like a little hibachi, a shared hibachi. So everybody's like, you just talking and you're making your own food, and it's not like one person slaving away in the kitchen and then everybody having fun outside. It's like, you know, it's like I like those participatory family style.
It was almost like, yeah, but what I will say about that, there was almost like a defensive stance. When I was really hungry at times, I would like go to the door of the kitchen, and I was not allowed in the kitchen. It's like Granddad was on this, Mum was on that, and Grandma was that.
And whereas everybody else is just talking like in the living room or
well,
something?
not even talking, just watching a television set. It was the worst.
See, we had a joke
so
that
much.
no matter what, somebody could have the most gigantic house, beautiful living room or outside garden patio. Everybody ends up in the kitchen.
Yeah, of course.
And everyone's just like talking and hanging out in there. And of course, it's like an aggravation of the person cooking. But
it's one of the
kitchen
things,
is like the lifeblood. It's like the heart.
One of the things I wished I'd really done actually was like been a bit more proactive with like a microphone and like recording some of the old stuff that my granddad and grandma used to say. I know my mum's got some stuff with my grandma, but kind of wish I'd taken stock of some of those like golden nuggets of information instead of just like seeing when I can get my next sandwich.
Well, you know, when you're a kid, or like seeing how much you can scrape a little icing off the cake without anybody noticing, and doing like a little hatchet patch job from where you took a little.
My grandma never had any. She always used to put whiskey in the bottom of or port
In the cakes?
In the trifle.
Oh.
But she couldn't see properly. She has no idea how much she's putting in.
You go ahead, Grandma.
So I was like 11 and wasted in the back seat of the car. Like, why do I feel this way? I've had a tuna sandwich. You know. Like,
I remember having some pretty soaked baba rums, some rum babas, which I don't know if you've ever experienced, but it's like a cake split down the middle with cannoli filling and then just doused in rum. It's not even cooked off. It's not even part of the cooking process. It's just doused.
I remember one time on holiday, going back to the Spain holidays, being on the back of a donkey while it's like, and I'm not sitting on it. I've been laid over the donkey
like a sack of potatoes.
Like a sack of potatoes, and I'm coming down a hillside because I've just been drinking like potato stuff. What do you call it? It's not
vodka?
Schnapps. Well, it's not vodka at that level. It's like 70-80% proof.
Like moonshine?
Yeah. Moonshine. My dad like got my mum and us to go onto this like excursion in inverted commas, and it ended up being in this little place with like terrible tables with like plastic covers on it. And
how old were you? You got wasted.
8, 9. Like I'm on the back of it. I didn't know.
How did you drink it?
Well, I think I was probably like, I didn't know it was that because it was a clear liquid. I don't know if I drank it by mistake or if my dad let me have a sip of it, but I don't remember. I do also remember going to a gin distillery and having some of the samples and nobody saying anything that I couldn't do that and feeling like, like...
Yikes.
Yeah, I was a pretty messed up kid, I'll be honest. Like, I was a bit all over the place.
Well, I think it's also if you're on holiday, a lot of, like, sweet mixed drinks. I always think every time I drink, like, some ciders or some tropical drinks, my first thought is, like, I would never know.
Yeah,
well, like, if I was a kid and I grabbed this off a table, I would never, ever know that there was alcohol in it just because it tastes like a sweet...
Yeah, it's like that cider we had the other week.
I remember being a kid, like, and those drinks were always so colorful, and they'd have, like, umbrellas and fruit and, like, they would just look so... The way they look is, so appealing to a kid. It's like...
Orange and pink merged together, like...
It looks like Wonka stuff. You're like, that's got to be the greatest thing that ever existed. So, like, there is a little bit of, like, that... like appeal, and then you taste it, it's sweet as hell. It's like pineapple juice. You wouldn't taste it.
I had a lot of respect for my granddad. He used to always like sit there with a table full of drink and just every time I used to come back and stand there, I'd never bug him, I'd never question anything. He'd look at me and then he'd look away, he'd look at the table, look at me and realise that his life was pretty good and just go in his pocket and give me some money and go on.
Well, you just stood there because you knew he'd eventually just give you a payout.
I didn't actually know he was. I wasn't going back to do that. It's just like it's a bit like the pizza parties and everything. It was like in the right place at the right time. That's what you do when you run out of money. Is you go back to that place and there may be money. You know. I occasionally used to do that with my mom and dad. Drag them on the shoulder and be like, "Can I have some money? Can I have some money?" And they'd be like, "No, you had your money." And then granddad would take pity on me and be just like, "Here's a handful of change." Just like, and I would leave the hotel and walk down the street because they had like Double Dragon, in a like a bar or a chippy.
I remember Double Dragon.
I was addicted to it. But like, where is he? It's like down the street playing Double Dragon. Anyway, that's it for us today. It's 12:15. We need to go and get some alcohol because it's Sunday and we need to celebrate the fact that it's Sunday.
That we made it.
Yeah, and then we're going to do Product Sense, which is anchor.fm/Product Sense. If you're not subscribed to this show, it's positive, same place, anchor.fm. We have an outro for that. I don't know why I forget all that shit.
Yeah, but we don't mention this on the outro, is that we have a one website with everything on it called Unfree.
That's true.
UNFR.ee. So both podcasts, the latest episode is always up there.
Unfree.
And you can check that out. And also, if you like that website, you can buy it for $12.
Yeah,
you can use it for your own podcast.
Yeah,
we made it.
We build these little residual templates. We love Carrd, CARRD.co so much. It was like, oh god, I love playing with this. And we ended up just like going in on making a bunch of templates, thinking other people would need templates, or we saw things on Upwork in the feed that was like, oh, I need a website, I need it today, and I need this. It's like, oh, let's make some stuff, and then we can kind of tell people about it. But that didn't kind of work out. So
it just hasn't worked out yet.
No, I do believe that actually. I feel like at some point, once I do the live streaming stuff, once they build a template store, once Engrave moves a little bit forward, like there is work that we have started to fill in the cracks for. There's like people who need people to work on their ever expanding DApp. I've just had a client come back to me after like 4 months, 5 months, be like, oh, we've scaled the team now, like we need somebody most of the time. And now I have, the only problem with that is I have to have contact with two other people. I have no idea who they are, so you have to kind of like do that kind of virtual tango dancing back and forth a little bit.
Funny when people pass you off to other people. It's always so awkward. I'm always like, hi, I'm the person he just said I was.
Yeah. But he did.
But whatever.
He did leave a list of things of how I work best, which I liked.
Oh, that's good. And that's good about when you have a relationship with a client, that they know that.
He was like, do this, then Phil will do a take of it, and then you can go back and forth and be like, whatever. And because they're scaling, I want to go on ideally, I'd like to go on a retainer rather than per job because of that situation.
Yeah.
If it's just direct to the person I was working with before, that's my set fee, that's our relationship, it's like the handshake, it's like, I'm not going to adjust the price. But now I've got 2 more additional potential complications. The fee goes up. The fee goes up because it's my BS tax.
They're not people, they're potential complications.
if it gets in the way of the job getting done,
I agree.
Then it costs me more time.
No, you have to think of that way when you're a freelancer, because
you absolutely
your time is so precious. And I'm going to spend mine drinking and playing God of War today.
Beautiful.
So everybody have a lovely Sunday wherever you are. And goodbye. Thank you and good night. You can support the show by heading to anchor.fm/positive and clicking the Support This Podcast button, or by checking out any of this week's sponsors.
Subscribe to Positively Negative wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can hang out with us on Discord by visiting smarturl.it/talkback.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yay! Bye!